Hey, it's Biddy Penny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a little bit of a haul from you from two different places. I have a Ranger haul and then one from Abe Books. That's ABE Books. Okay, from Ranger, I got this really cool embossing powder that I know I'll get a lot of use out of. And it was on the sales tab for $1, which is just amazing. And I know that that is a color that I will use quite a bit. It's not gold, it's just a light brown. So I went ahead and picked it up just knowing how much I'll use it. And then I also got these chipboard shapes from Dina Wakely and I just love them. I've seen her use them quite a bit. You can use embossing powder, you can color them with paint, ink, you can do all kinds of things with them. These were also in the sales and I've always liked them but just never picked them up. But I went ahead and went for it. A little bit of impulse buys. What I was really there for was the ink. So you guys, if you were in a live with me, you saw me open these two, the Peat Moss and Tea Rose. And the Tea Rose I was just not really into at first. I wasn't really feeling it, but it's growing on me. And then the Peat Moss was love at first sight. I really liked it, and I still do. So here's what they look like when I ink blended them in the live. I have been stamping with them and using them for about a week or two, and I love them. They're great performance ink. It's an archival, excuse me, which I bought for my junk journals. I want to start only using archival ink in my junk journals instead of distress ink. That way, if someone uses a wet medium or their journal gets wet, there's no unpleasant surprises of ink smearing. So I bought myself, I kind of curated my own little rainbow. I will say that not all inks are created equal. In fact, they're usually all quite different from one another with different properties. So if you're just getting started in card making or journaling, I recommend instead of getting a complete set, don't get the complete set syndrome when it comes to ink. I really don't recommend it because you'll want different inks for different things that you do. So instead, build little rainbows. So what I did with this is I really needed, need is maybe a strong word, I really wanted a jewel tone rainbow. I had not built a jewel tone rainbow yet. I have kind of a brights rainbow from Catherine Puller. I have a mid color range from MFT. I have random colors from Lawn Fawn, and now I do have all of the distress oxides, but that's just a different story. And then I just have maybe 3 or 4 distress ink pads. Okay, so I have these stickers. It really doesn't matter which ones, but this is how I identify which of my stamp pads have a re-inker and which ones don't. Now, I did buy a re-inker for this embossing pad. I really needed it, so I decided I would just go ahead and ink it up right away. Then what I do is I put a sticker on the back of the ink pad. And that way when my ink pad starts to get dry, I can just flip it over and I know right away if I have a re-inker for it or not. I don't buy re-inkers for brand new colored stamp pads until I know that I like them. But as soon as I do identify that I like them, then I usually buy one. Some stamp pads like Catherine Puller and Stampin' Up, they dry up very quickly because they're a soft sponge. This ink pad is a felt ink pad. So archival ink, MFT, Lawn Fawn, those are some brands where they use a felt pad and they do not dry out usually for a long time. So you can wait. So for instance, these three colors here, I couldn't get a re-inker for. Well, the tea rose, I wasn't sure if I wanted one because I wasn't in love with the color at first. And then the other two weren't available, but I'm not sweating it. I know that they won't dry out for a long time, and so I'll be fine. And I use the notification bell to get notified, so that makes me happy too. Okay, I've shown y'all this journal before. It's the most recent junk journal that I bought online, and I love it very much, but it doesn't have a lot of writing space. It really just has pockets with a page here or there to write on. So I have decided, after I sat it on my desk and was like, okay, I know I want to use this in the new year. I'm not sure how. I was thinking about it could be my ideas journal for YouTube, but I need more writing space and I need more drawing space for that kind of. I usually use a sketchbook for that, to be honest. But then when all these inks came in, I was like, oh, this would be such a fun swatch book to keep swatches in. And I want to make sure I'm swatching more of my products anyways. So that's what I'm doing here. I just took a heavyweight cardstock, cut it down to basically a top folding card, and I'm going to bring in a stamp. I just picked one because it was what I had on my desk, keeping it simple. This is from Frosted Garden from Altenew. It's an older stamp set. And what I'm going to do is stamp out each of my colors, and I'm also going to ink blend because colors look different from the stamped version to the inked version. So if you're doing a swatch, a color swatch for yourself, as a card maker, I would definitely suggest doing a chart that enables you space for blending. So I'm going to start with this first color, and this color is called Lighthouse. I think that's such a funny name for this color. To me, when I think of, I get it. I guess some lighthouses have like red on them. But to me, it just makes me think of like, it's like a Merlot or something. I would think of yellow or red, maybe red and blue for a lighthouse. Okay, so I'm just labeling the top of my card. I stamped it, I ink blended, and then I'm writing the name of the colored ink. Since these are all the same type of ink, then this is what's going to work for me with this chart. What I like about putting these in a book like this, and especially where it's removable, is if I have like patterned paper that I'm wanting to match my ink color to, I can just pull this out of my swatch book and hold it to the pattern paper and know if I have a match or not. So I think I'm really going to enjoy having my swatches done in a way like this. I know I've seen a lot of people do theirs like on key rings, for example, and that's really great. I know there's lots of ways you can do it. There's more than one way to skin a cat, they say. I wouldn't want to do it in any way, but anyways, I think these three colors are gorgeous together. I think they would be really beautiful for like layered stamps. So if you had a bunch of layered stamps of roses or something, I think these three colors would be gorgeous. So we had Lighthouse. The second one that I stamped there was Rose Madder. And then the third one was the tea rose. And the tea rose is really like a coral. It is beautiful. I just wasn't expecting it when I initially opened it up. Okay, this here is Goldenrod. Look how different Goldenrod stamps from how it blends. My ink pad is not glued on correctly. It's hanging off the edge. I'm going to keep it and not be fussy about it, but yeah, it's a little crooked. It's going to be all right though. Okay, what's next? This one, Seafarer. This color is gorgeous. I'm always a fan of like cornflower blue and really all the blues. I love like the light pool colors, and I love a navy blue. I really like the Seafarer. I like turquoise. I like all the colors. Who am I kidding? So there is that one. So that's Seafarer. And I did leave myself a little room to grow, which I'm excited about that possibility as well. I just feel like you can't really go wrong with archival ink. Now I also, so this is the whole point really, is like I want archival because if it gets wet, it's not going to spread, it's not going to move, it's going to stay put. But then I also love my distress inks because they're water reactive, and so that's why I'm saying like you really just can't do everything with one ink. It's important to have a variety. So build your collection slowly. Think about the colors. Look at your paper pads if you have a lot of paper pads, or if you use particular color palette, build your rainbow to match your color palette. Don't just pick it for what I picked or what other people pick. Go with what you love, because then you'll pull for it more and more. If you're looking through your paper pads and you realize you like a lot of brights, build a bright rainbow or pastels. I think Concord and Ninth has beautiful colors. I have never tried their ink, so I don't know, how it stamps or anything, but I do think that they have really beautiful pastels. Pastels is one rainbow I still don't have. I thought I was getting a good pastel one with Catherine Puller, and it's just not. It's bright. It's all very, very bright. With Catherine Puller, you have to be careful. I was fooled by the labels, thinking that the ink would look like the label, and they don't. They stamp a whole lot darker. So if you're going to invest in Catherine Puller, follow her, watch her channel, do investigations. I didn't do that. I just heard everyone talking about it all the time, and I was like, well, I got to give it a try. And I went by the labels, and I was like, oh, that looks like a good pastel rainbow, and it's not. So that would be my warning about that. They stamped just like the label. So I think with Ranger Archival, you're safe to build your rainbow based on the label. But obviously not all brands are like that. I just want to help you guys out and share the knowledge that I've gained. I'm explaining here that this little paper, I'm going to write like the names of all the archival inks that I have, and then which ones I have ink refills for and which ones I don't, so that I have it all in one place. But yeah, this is going to be my swatch book, and I think it's going to be so much fun, and it fits perfectly up on my ink cabinet. So I'll have it there for all the different kinds of things. And it's great because this little golden book was themed with a bunch of impressionist artwork. So it's perfect that it's becoming my swatch book. Okay, these are a couple of books that I got. I saw a girl junk journaling and tearing up this book, no judgment, and using it in her journal, but I just fell in love with the book itself. And I found it on Abe Books. I don't know if y'all have ever ordered from Abe before, but it's a whole bunch of different sellers. Look at how she draws people. This is how I want to draw people. This is about as precise as I ever want to get. But I just love the feeling of this book. I love to have books like this in my collection that don't have to be read cover to cover. But when I'm wanting to sit down and thumb through pages and feel inspired or feel restful, then these are my favorite kinds of books, honestly, just to kind of sit. I love coffee table books. I just love to look. I'm visually, stimulated. Of course, I want a little text for context and reflection, but not too much. And so this just really called to me. I would love to make a book like this one day. So then, of course, I was there. I was like, well, what else does this artist make? This was her French, South of France journal diary, and I loved it as well. My husband and I just love France. We had such a good time when we were there in the south of France and in Spain and Holland. I mean, I love Europe. I just want to live in Europe. Okay, and then this was a different artist that popped up. The other one was Saramita. Um, and then this, I can't remember this girl's name, but this is so wonderful. It is still possible to be completely entertained by a collection of old buttons. It's so true. I feel the exact same way. They didn't have very many pictures, but they had this one. And I was like, that's how I've been drawing my people lately. And I have a little sketchbook that's just faces. And this is kind of where I'm going with my art when I draw people. And I just felt that kindredness. So I was like, well, if I love her faces, I'll probably like everything else too. And I totally do. I love this human rainbow. Give me a rainbow of people. It's my favorite. Love it, love it. So fun. Just an inspirational little book, a little gem. These are also tiny too, which is just cute. I love miniature things. So that's my haul, you guys. I had so much fun playing around with these and recording this video for you guys. And I hope you enjoyed watching it. See you next time. Bye.